Hey everybody, and welcome to Falcon Spotlights Naissance, or NaissanceE. That extra E in that word is kind of throwing me off to a degree, but you know, my issues with the English language and pronunciation aside, Naissance is a game developed by Limasse Five. By the time this video comes out, it should probably be available already on Steam, so if you do enjoy what you see here, I encourage you to go ahead and check it out and, you know, give the developers its support and whatnot. That said, before we get jump into the game, I wanted to give you a quick little bit of my thoughts as to what the game kind of resembles to a degree. It is going to be an atmospheric exploration type of game, really heavy emphasis on that. It's a bit on the artsy side, so if that's your thing, then cool. If it's not, then, you know, I apologize for that. But that is kind of what the game is kind of going for here. There is going to be a bit of puzzling and platforming and whatnot like that. Kind of think of it as like Antechamber or Cairo, like Antechamber Light. And when I say Antechamber Light, it's not a knock against the game itself. It's just telling you that there is going to be some puzzling involved, but not to that really major degree. I feel that the puzzle and the platforming kind of works more as kind of a break of pace so that you're not just constantly, you know, going from point A to point B, just exploring and whatnot like that. So there is a bit of that involved. Just not where I think the game shines. I think the game really shines in its exploration, the ambiance around it, and basically trying to figure out why you're stuck in this weird fucking world that reminds me of something like out of the Matrix, or, you know, just some sort of crazy Ghost in the Shell, cyberpunk type of weird thing. That all aside, let me actually jump into the game so you can kind of get a feel as to what I'm talking about over here. Alright, so now we're finally in control again, after a little short cutscene where we're being kind of chased by either the smoke monster from Lost, digitized, or some sort of black hole vortex. You're not entirely sure what it is. The only thing the game tells you off the start is basically Lucy is lost. Are you Lucy? Probably. Or is Lucy lost and Lucy is someone that you're here to find? I don't know. I can't honestly tell you that for sure just now. I'm not that far into the game to actually figure that out just yet, and I wouldn't want to kind of jump to a conclusion or whatnot. But then again, that's also best to your purpose if you want to play the game and figure things out yourself. I encourage you to go ahead and do so. However, the only thing that the game tells you is Lucy is lost, and that pretty much starts off your quest over here. As you can tell, the game has a really sort of direction to it. There's a lot of whites and blacks, and by whites and blacks, I don't necessarily mean races or anything like that. I'm sure that if I was talking about races, it'd be like different colors involved and whatnot, but whites and blacks, I mean in terms of like shadow, the artistic portion of the game, essentially. So with that said, let's actually proceed on over here. That's why I mentioned that the game has a really like artistic, atmospheric sense to it, just because basically the, I guess the whole atmosphere around it really focuses on these colors and whatnot, but it does it really well, as a matter of fact. So let me have that, that little light thing kind of works as your guide point, essentially, or almost your pseudo-puzzle thing that I mentioned earlier. A lot of the, I guess, quote-unquote puzzles are going to be involved kind of trying to chase this light down around, but it kind of works in different mechanics as well, not just chasing it, as you'll shortly see. Other things, the control movements, WASD to move around, control to crouch, spacebar to jump, shift to run, you know, basic things. You know, if you've played any sort of computer game in your life, you will pretty much be really familiar with the controls here. Here is some of the platform that I wanted to actually do here. As you can see, that mouse, not that mouse, but that white light just kind of took off over here. So for the most part, this is the tutorial portion of the game, as you can imagine. You kind of have to follow this guy around here. Let me see if I can clear this jump. Excellent, good. I apologize if there's any sort of a shoddy play on my part. I'm not really that great of a player with, when it comes to keyboards and whatnot. And let's see, that light just kind of took off like a bat out of hell there. Light, you gotta give me a little chance here. I'm trying to do a little bit of an explanation for you two, and at the same time follow you along, so it's a lot harder to kind of do that because of that portion right there. One thing that I've noticed too is that the light kind of has a little bit of an actual like puzzle element to it. Like say for instance that the light kind of removes, yeah, here it is. You saw how the light kind of took off there, and there was a platform in that space right there. Now it's completely empty. The light kind of actually almost creates platforms for you to actually follow. So it's in your best interest to actually kind of keep up with the light and not fall back too ahead, or else you'll kind of get lost in darkness and have to focus on other things. The light just kind of took off up there. I don't think I could chase it at this point anymore. There was a little bit of platform right there at one point, but now that the light is gone, it has disappeared. So for now, we're going to pretty much wave goodbye to that light and just crouch down and go through here into the eternal darkness and, you know, basically scare the living daylights out of me because I'm claustrophobic, so this type of situation does not really work to my advantage here. Let's kind of turn over here and maybe I'm heading the right way. We'll find out short enough. There is no horror aspects to the game. I know that's a big thing in a lot of gamers and whatnot. Like games like to this degree kind of really thrive on that, like giving you like a little horror aspect to it and whatnot. But there is nothing of that in the game. However, the game does, however, produce to you a little bit of fear, just if you're into the whole if you're not into it. I mean, nobody's really into claustrophobia. Like, nobody goes in and is kind of like, can I really watch a claustrophobic movie right now? But it kind of really gives you that sense of claustrophobia because there's a lot of dark corridors and whatnot, really in close spots, so that's something to really keep in mind as well. I feel that some of the scarier games to this day nowadays, at least like as a person that's played a lot of horror games in his life, is that the games that are happening to be a bit more scarier are games that don't necessarily make it their life ambition to scare the living shit out of you with jump scares and things to that degree. It's basically games that just subtly kind of put you in an environment like so and kind of, use the environment against you, where you're just kind of like lost, a little bit in limbo essentially, and kind of figure out what you're trying to do. This here over here kind of really... Alright, that's gonna just blind the shit out of me there. By the way, if you suffer from seizures, you might want to be careful, not look directly into the light, I'd imagine. That's a good, actually, advice for anything in reality. You know, if you ever find yourself in a life and death situation, don't walk into the light, just walk away from it. So over here, you're going to be kind of introduced to this kind of room that reminds me a little bit of something like Cube, the movie. The original, by the way. I haven't seen any. Well, actually, I've seen some of these sequels, or quote-unquote prequels. Not really that great. But, it's kind of something off of Cube. One of the things that the light does, not only the light that you've been following so far, but lights in the game, it kind of gives you guide points as to what you should do, and it kind of works as a puzzle. Right now, we see a little thing here. I can't jump back over there. I can't reach that passageway over there. So if you hang out in the light for a second, just let the light guide your point, or guide your path, essentially. Which is kind of really an anti-statement of what I just said before, where you want to walk away from the light, as a matter of fact. So right there, as you can see, I kind of waited around. The light kind of produces this little exit for us. Now, if I move back and look back over here, it has been closed off. So the light really works as that sort of puzzle is exactly. If you kind of get yourself stuck somewhere, kind of just realize that it's really light-based. So, maybe if you hang around a bit long enough, you'll kind of figure out what you have to do here. That said, now that we're over here above, we're kind of a little bit stuck into what else should be doing here. I'd imagine some small little platforming down below. Obviously, there's a little bit of a fall damage involved. You can't necessarily take a tumble from too far above, or else you'll kill yourself. I mean, that's something anybody should know by this point, right? If you fall from really high heights, you might die. Once you're down below over here, you kind of produce with kind of a little bit more tutorial, as a matter of fact. Press shift to run a short time. Simply done. That little circle right there, it'll tell you right now what it's for, but since I've already tested this game out, breed regularly to run longer. So essentially, when you're running, if you click your left mouse button, it's going to let you kind of regain your stamina and let you keep running further and further, as the tutorial was kind enough to kind of disclose it as just there. But since I've done this before, when you're down below here, you want to kind of start running towards this side. Again, take a look at all the sights around you when you're trying to do so, though. I mean, the game is really heavy on the artistic value and the atmosphere altogether. Again, don't expect something too crazy along the gameplay, but I feel that at least the art direction of the game is really, really impressive if you're into this type of stuff. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole argument of whether certain games are really games or certain games are just not games that are just focused on completely artsy. I mean, you have games like Gone Home, for instance, or even Cairo, which I mentioned earlier, and, a lot of people are on the fence whether that's really a game or not, just because of what the minimalistic type of gameplay to it. Well, it's kind of open to debate for sure. I mean, you're all entitled to your own opinion of it. I personally think that a game is a game regardless of which. It's just a different type of genre. I mean, we all have different type of genres that we're into, and this right here, Naissance offers its own personal genre here. So we're going to get to this section over here where it kind of seems like it's all lit up, but if you kind of go up and around, you'll be able to see your next guide point and whatnot. Alrighty, so once you're over here, you kind of produce with 4 rooms. I'd imagine that as the game continues, you'll probably have to go through all these rooms, and then that'll open up this major room right there and probably lead you towards the end, who knows. We'll find out, or you'll find out if you decide to take the venture into this game on your own. I won't guide you through the whole thing, as a matter of fact, because number one, you don't want me guiding you to or anything, because let's not mend any words here. That would be pretty much a disaster on your part to actually follow my leads. But, you know, at least the first portion I have completed before, so for the most part, you're kind of okay right now in okay hands. But I wouldn't, you know, put my life in my hands, believe me. I don't even put my own life in my own hands, but that's a different thing altogether. So let's continue on to the shadow area over here. And we'll be basically returning to our little light friend over here. And what is he going to tell us this time? Or not tell us, but what is he going to show us? Basically, now it's kind of introducing to you a little bit of a pathway type of system. As we see a magnificent type of blue light right there. Let's see. And then if you turn on to the right over here, there's going to be another light. So when I first actually went through this myself, I thought there was some sort of intricate puzzle. Another thing that I would advise you is then don't overthink things too much. When I got to this aspect here, I was kind of stuck for like a good 5 minutes trying to figure out whether these little light balls had any sort of I guess deeper purpose. Like, was I supposed to, like, you know, complete them or like mend them together, or like, you know, basically make them like one, like it's a Lego type of puzzle? But it's really not. If you follow this light, and you'll see here there is an entrance. What I will tell you about this game is honestly pay attention to your surroundings. You'll probably do that just if you're into the game and you want to really experience the atmosphere of the game. So that's something that shouldn't even be mentioned. But for, you know, I guess minimalistic brainly people like myself who are kind of very dumb and kind of get lost really easily, don't overthink it. Just really experience the game, enjoy it, follow what's going around here, get a good I guess feel of your surroundings, and you should be fine for the most part. The game, again, I mentioned Cube earlier on. It really has that sense of Cube, honestly. It also kind of reminds me a little bit of Event Horizon to a degree for some reason, just like that whole kind of loneliness aspect to it, where you're kind of just lost in here. You're not really entirely sure what's out to get you. Is there something even out to get you? Over here again, the light aspect of the game. You're completely encased in darkness over here, so you can't really figure out what to do. If you move around a bit, you should be able to get this light to come over here and light your path. Obviously, before the light actually shone over here, we couldn't get through, but as soon as the light did hit, we were able to kind of move about a bit. There's going to be a bunch of these light cubes that kind of just work as a little bit of a guide point in case you do get lost. So again, it's basically in your best interest to kind of follow these lights and whatnot, and there you go. This guy is kind of gliding me around over here and up this staircase, and it's a lot more lighter over here, so that's actually really good because it's less of a chance for me to get lost. And here is again the platforming aspect that I wanted to mention with the lights. Essentially, when it's completely dark, I wouldn't really advise you jumping there because the platforms tend to lose all sense of matter to them. So you kind of want to jump when there's some light in there involved because it kind of, I guess, creates the platform for you. So with that said, let me just fall down and completely do the opposite of what I just mentioned. Let me get back up here really quickly. Again, this is coming from somebody who actually played the game to a degree already, and I'm already doing awful, so take that for what it's worth right there. It's not against the game, believe me, it's more against my gaming aptitude in reality. So let me have this light kind of shine my path through here again. Come on, light. Let me just jump through here, and okay. Let me jump through there. Okay, don't get lost in the darkness, that's the last thing you want to do. Let me clear this jump, and clear this one over here, and there we go, excellent. Alrighty, now I'm completely encased in darkness here. I'm a little bit scared. Let me crouch down, and there we go. Good to go. Now, I'm a little bit lost though as to where I should be going from here. Okay, so again, if you're completely encased in darkness, it's kind of really just better to kind of hold up, let the light come through and tell you where you should be going. Otherwise, you're kind of like stuck in a completely fucked situation. Pardon my French on that one, but it's exactly what it is. So over there, we see a little bit of a another little bit of those like little floor guiders essentially. Before you go over there and jump or try to make a jump, you'll see there is a platform next to it, which was just lit recently, and okay, cool. Let me just fall to my death. Alright, so after that colossal mistake there, let me go ahead and jump through there now, and this time we'll clear this jump over. So again, the platforming again, it's kind of not amazingly responsive, right? Like, it's not like the most like amazingly gameplayed mechanic to the game itself, but again, part of that was also my error in terms of jumping a little bit too late right there. So the reaction time really has to be really good on your part, essentially. If you're good at platformers, which I felt that I was, but now I'm completely encased in darkness here, and that's kind of scary. Give me some light, because it's kind of terrifying. Again, I'll mention it, just keep looking at your surroundings, keep looking at the atmospheric value around you. There's a lot to see and a lot to experience with this game itself. And you know what, I decided to take a shortcut and just jump straight down. Again, but that was an aspect as to the light mechanic itself. I was on a platform, everything was perfectly fine. The light went off, and then suddenly the platform just kind of collapsed under my feet, so that's something to definitely keep in mind of here. When you do get hurt, basically you'll see that red tint and whatnot, showing that you are a little bit injured and whatnot. That also works as a way to kind of almost screw you up to a degree, though. I mean, you kind of want to not get hurt that often, because otherwise it's going to mess around with the tint of your game. Now I'm completely encased in red over here, which kind of makes it a little bit more difficult for me. And I'm going to go ahead and touch this light over here. Mighty good. I'm not entirely sure if the lights actually replenish your health to a degree, because as you can see, the red tint is kind of gone now, so I'm not entirely sure if that's how that works, but I'd imagine it does. I'm not sure if you recover health over time. It's not like a first-person shooter. If you duck under cover, you'll get your health back, I don't imagine. Again, this light is going to shine me to this side, but it's going to kind of leave me lost here, and okay, there's enough light over here for me to actually make myself through. Excellent. And let's see what we have over here involved. I can go down this way, and can I go down this one over here? No, absolutely not. So again, there's a lot of, like, actually locked rooms. Whether you'll be able to explore through all of these, I'd imagine kind of like almost like, you know, let's say the Stanley Parable Project or something like to that degree, where I guess as you proceed the game, certain different paths open up depending on what you do and whatnot. So that's something to keep in mind as well in a game like Naissance. So over here telling me to run to jump longer. So this light kind of took off without me here. And let's see if it's going to come back. It totally is. Let's see. Alrighty. I'm going to probably miss this for sure. Now, I'm not entirely sure if you are supposed to miss that or not, because the light will indeed come back and give you easier platforms to kind of get through. Alright, Light, I've just about had enough of your goddamn ruses and shit. So, again, guys, I mentioned the platforming wasn't too deep in the game, but there are going to be aspects like this puzzle in particular where you're supposed to really kind of balance a lot of things. You're supposed to balance your running, your jumping, and your stamina recover as well. So that's something to keep in mind. So for this aspect, let me actually take a little bit of a serious note here. Now let's do this, Light. Alright, go. Let's go. Let's go. We got this. Get your stamina back. Yeah, alright, bitch ass. Alrighty, Light. Fuck off. Thanks a lot for nothing. So, again, guys, I'm gonna pretty much start calling it an episode here. I hope you got a little bit of a taste as to what you should be looking forward to with Naissance, I should say. Again, there's a little bit of puzzling involved, a little bit of platforming, but again, I think that the core of the game and what the developers are really trying to go for is basically the sense of exploration, the sense of loneliness, what you're doing here. You can't figure it out just yet. Obviously, it's a game that's not going to present to you the answers right in front of you. You're supposed to actually continue exploring and basically getting more of a feel for the game before you actually get any answers and whatnot. And again, don't do yourself any sort of, do yourself a favor and actually take your time with the game if you do decide to go with along with it. Really, honestly, let me run over here to kind of showcase what I'm trying to say is, take advantage of this. Basically, there's a lot of honestly awesome like structures to the game. The artistic value is really high. And basically, don't think of it as a game that you want to rush through and kind of like, you know, get the ending already. Actually, really take your time and kind of explore, because there is a lot to this game. It is only basically, I guess, dusting off the top of the game or the cover itself. There's a lot more involved in it, and I don't want to get too much into it just so I don't want to spoil the fun for you in case you do decide to go with it. But again, guys, if you did enjoy the game, I assure you to go ahead and check it out. I'll have the information for it in the description. And once again, this was Falcon Spotlights Naissance, and hopefully you did enjoy it. And if you did, I encourage you to go ahead and click that thumbs up button. The support really means a lot. Once again, guys, I will catch you next time.